What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream, and big up to everyone locked in on this Monday. I don't know what was going on with YouTube, man. I listed the stream for today, and for some reason it was showing up for tomorrow. So if some of you thought I wasn't live today, apologies. YouTube was ramping people, but big up to everyone locked in. Hope you're well on this Monday, and we got a lot to talk about. The sun is shining in England. I can't believe it. We finally got sunshine, people. So we have to make the most of it as and when we can. But anyway, it's an interesting one. There's a lot to talk about, and we've got a very big game of football tomorrow against PSG in the Champions League. So looking forward to that game, but also a little nervous for that game as well, people, you know. But make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We got a lot to talk about today. Does Liverpool's title win put more pressure on Mikel Arteta? Yeah, they've won the title. Everybody said it was Pep. We can't deal with Pep. If Pep wins it, nobody else can win it. But Pep fell off this shit. Liverpool won the title. Does that put more pressure on Mikel Arteta? We'll speak about that. Jorginho set to leave the club as well. There have been some rumours that Jorginho might sign a new contract, but it looks as if he's on his way. I personally think that's the right decision. And we'll talk about other things as well. Before we do look ahead, I just want to say, by the way, a massive congratulations to Arsenal women's team yesterday, man. 4-1 victory against Lyon away from home. They're in the Champions League final. They'll play against Barcelona in Lisbon. And what a comeback. Beaten at home by Lyon. A lot of people expected them to go to France and lose. They battered Lyon yesterday, and they made the Champions League final. They'll play Barcelona. Barcelona smashed Chelsea, I believe. I don't know everything about it, but you guys will know more than me. I believe Barcelona have the best women's team in the world. So a very difficult final for Arsenal women against, I think they're in Lisbon, the final. So good luck to them, and maybe we'll do a live stream for that as well. So big up to them. And the men's team need to take some inspiration. We need to be making finals. We need to be winning trophies. So shout out to Arsenal women for making the Champions League final. The remontada for real. What phase is Rennie Slagers in? Yeah, exactly. It's all about finals, all about trophies, and all about winning, people. But listen, Forever a Gunner. Yesterday I watched the Liverpool celebration. I was frustrated. We weren't there in Liverpool's place. Big up to you, Forever a Gunner, and everybody locked in. I want to talk about this. Let's discuss it. And again, be humble in defeat. Congratulations to Liverpool Football Club, champions of England for this season. Only 2 defeats in the league. Well deserved. I have no problem with them, to be honest. No problem. But any Arsenal fan watching those celebrations yesterday, Liverpool on the pitch, hundreds of thousands of Liverpool fans outside the stadium, flares being let off everywhere, blah, blah, blah. Every Arsenal fan should have felt uncomfortable watching that. Every Arsenal fan. Not even just Arsenal fans, fans of other clubs, big clubs, but especially Arsenal fans should have felt very uncomfortable watching those celebrations yesterday. A club legend of a manager leaves in the summer. They bring in a manager that most people didn't know too much about. He had obviously had success in Holland, but worldwide he wasn't that renowned. And he buys one player for £12 million, which you would say is a pretty, I wouldn't say washed up, but definitely past his best Chiesa. And he wins the title in his first season. Strolls to it. Absolutely, like, walks backwards to the title. It was that easy for him. And I'm sitting there going, they're 15 points ahead of us. 15 points ahead of us, people. How? They're good. Respect them. Title winners. 15 points. Now, I think most Arsenal fans who've watched Liverpool this season have said, they're good, but it doesn't feel like they're a million miles away from us. It's maybe Salah and Van Dijk, maybe those two, maybe the goalkeeper. That makes the slight difference. 15 points ahead of us is unbelievable. And I swear, I'll be honest with people, right? Because I like to be honest with the community. We have no divine right to win the Champions League. No way. We've never won it, so why should I expect us to win it? But I'm telling you now, if we don't win this Champions League, there's going to be a lot of difficult conversations to have around this season. Because the Champions League can rescue everything, no problem. But the rest of the things that have happened this season are not acceptable from this football club. I think as a fan, if you see your club do everything they can to be successful and they're not successful, you have to sit back and go, you know what? We tried our best. We went for it. We weren't good enough. That can happen. This is elite sport, right? But when you sit there and you go, let me look back at that summer transfer window. Neto, second choice goalkeeper in his mid-30s from Bournemouth, who couldn't even play in the Carabao Cup because he was cup-tied. Raheem Sterling completely washed up. Chelsea didn't even want him on the bench. That's been a disastrous signing as well. Calafiori, 40 million. At this moment in time, Calafiori has not been a successful signing. Yeah, he scored a couple of important goals. You've played him at left back. He's been ram-ragged by a lot of wingers this season. He's been injured 5 times. We've hardly seen him play at centre-back. £40 million. Could be successful in time. Right now, it's not. Marino, let's be honest, until he went up front, that wasn't a successful signing either. Got injured in his first day in training, looked sluggish, looked slow in midfield. He's ended up doing very well up front, give him some credit for that. That summer transfer window is not acceptable for a club that is supposed to be driving forward to win a title they haven't won since 2004. That is unacceptable. Then you get to January in the title race, you've got no strikers, nowhere to be seen, and you buy no one. You buy no one. Nobody. Ollie Watkins, okay, you didn't think he was worth 60 million. Why not get Asensio on loan? Do something. Give a slight improvement to this squad. They did nothing. January showed us what this ownership are about. I'm telling you now, if they win the Champions League this season, it's not because of them. They've just got away with it and it's fell in their lap. Now, listen, maybe they go crazy in the summer and we spend 300 million and you go, okay, that's why they didn't spend in January. But I'm telling you now, if we do not win that Champions League, the manager and the ownership have got blood on their hands for this season. Because losing in the FA Cup against 10 men, Man United, that are getting battered by everybody, getting smashed up at our own ground by Newcastle, who hadn't won a trophy in 70 years, and getting embarrassed, and then 15 points behind a Liverpool team that, no disrespect, I hope any Liverpool fan understands I'm taking nothing away. Deserved title winners. We've seen better Liverpool teams than this in recent years. The Mane, Firmino, Salah attack, the Fabinho, Wijnaldum, Henderson midfield, that Liverpool team was better than this. Far better. That would rip you to shreds. That was like an XL bully, people. Lockjaw. Mashing work. There's no way anybody can be watching this Liverpool team and going, yeah, 15 points better than Arsenal. It's not even because they're 15 points better than us. It's because we can't keep up in the race. There's a fundamental problem at Arsenal that they need to overcome. Now, maybe this Champions League gets us over the finish line because you don't have to win as many games and you play opposition that won't sit back and low block. So maybe we have more of a chance in Europe. But I'm sorry, this club need to look in the mirror. Because we've gone toe-to-toe with Man City the last few years, at a prime Man City that are, you know, Haaland getting 36 goals in a season, and we're finishing 2 points, 4 points behind them. And this Liverpool team, we're 15 points behind them. We've still got to play them. We've still got to play Newcastle. We could end up 18, 19 points behind this Liverpool team. That is unacceptable. I'm sorry. It really is. But I don't want to harp on about it too much. We get that out of the way. By the end of this show, we'll be focusing on the Champions League game tomorrow. But I have to say, I was I felt very uncomfortable watching Liverpool celebrate. It felt like it could have been us, and it wasn't. And what's the reason? They didn't go for it. Yeah, apologies. YouTube was showing up my streamers tomorrow for some reason, so apologies if people weren't notified. I've said for a long time with Arsenal, man, I'm more concerned with Arsenal than our opposition. I don't look at other teams and get fearful. I look at Arsenal and think, what are they going to do? How are they going to turn up, you know? PSG starts sealing tickets for the home game versus Arsenal. Cheaper tickets cost 499 euros with tax. PSG stand play. Well, it's a semi-final, bro. I understand it. Some of the fan base don't even remember the pain of the Guard of Honor for United. I think we've got to do a Guard of Honor for Liverpool, haven't we? When we play them, so it's a bit embarrassing. Being in the title race 2 years with Man City and third season when Man City fell off, Liverpool came out of nowhere, and this should be our season. But you know, it is what it is. We need to fix up against PSG. They are better than Madrid. We are going to talk about that. Just wanted to bring you some breaking news. Now, how breaking this is, I don't know. It's from a source that is very 50-50 with their you know, their tip-off. So don't take this as gospel and start running with it. It's just what they're saying, people. Team News and Tickets, who has had some stinkers but has had the odd one right. So I would reserve judgment. But he's tweeted in the last hour, Arsenal have reached an agreement with Bukayo Saka regarding a new contract that will apparently make him the highest paid player at the football club. So obviously, Havertz earns 275. You would imagine this will be 280, 290, 300 grand a week for Bukayo Saka. But listen, as I said, I don't want to be sitting here saying, yeah, this is gospel, go out and celebrate. This guy gets things wrong. However, I did read, and I have heard from people, and this isn't me ITKing and stuff like, because I'll never do that. But the people I do speak to who have a little bit of info have said, look, the conversations with Saka have been that this deal will happen as long as Arsenal pay the bag. So he's probably going to get 300 grand a week. And I think if you're Saka at his age, how he's doing, he's just had a serious injury. I think the bigger clubs out there that would maybe interest him, there's no space for him at the moment. I don't think Real Madrid would go for Saka because they've got Rodrigo. Maybe if Rodrigo went. I don't think Barcelona would go for him because they've got Lamine Yamal. So I think everything I've been hearing is that Saka wants to stay. He just wants to be paid what he feels he's worth. Now, let's be honest. I used to say I was uncomfortable with young players coming through and getting that kind of money. However, we got to move with the times, right? And I have to move with the times as well. In reality, he would cost you over £100 million to buy. You would pay a guy you would pay a guy 300 grand a week. Also, and I've said this before, Arsenal made the stupid mistake of giving Kai Havertz 275. Once you pay Kai Havertz 275, which is why I can't stand that signing even more, as soon as Saka's agent sits down for negotiations, he's going to say, well, how can Havertz be on 275 and I'm the best attacking player at the club? And Saliba's probably going to say the same thing when he sits down. So that's the problem. Every top player is going to say, well, I'm better than Havertz. You got to pay me at least what he's getting. However, looks as if Arsenal may be making progress with Saka new contract. But again, let's not celebrate until it comes from a better source. But yeah, 300 grand a week is the rumour for Saka. And I think he will sign a new deal, to be honest. But what we have to do now is not waste him. You've got to build a team around him that goes and wins trophies. And this is what Arsenal have not done in the past. They've had great players like Alexis and Oba and haven't built. City are 3 titles away of equaling our record. I saw that in league titles. You're only worth what others want to pay for you. Exactly. Exactly. Thoughts on the Wrighty situation? That woman was wrong. But was it Eni Aluko? I mean, listen, man. Let's put it this way. A lot of women's football is improving, and I'm glad because you want people growing up to believe that they can build a future in football as a woman. And I think the women's game's actually getting a lot better. I'll be honest, I didn't really hardly ever watch women's football. I actually think it's a lot better now and improving. Um, Ian Wright, one of the biggest football personalities in this country, one of the biggest Arsenal players ever, somebody that's on one of the biggest YouTube platforms in this country as well of the overlap. He's constantly supporting, speaking positively, going to games, and even doing punditry work for the women's game. And Eni Aluka, and they're saying, he's getting in the way of women pundits. It's like you can't have it both ways. You want support, but you don't want him to work within the women's game. And then a story came out that there was a player that had a serious knee injury and the club wouldn't pay for her rehab, and Ian Wright paid for the girl's rehab. So I think she's absolutely delusional in what she's saying. Absolutely delusional. She needs to keep her mouth shut, is my opinion. And if you listen to some of the things she said in the past, she talks nonsense. So that's my. She has apologized, but Wrighty said he ain't accepting the apology, because why did she feel the need to go on a public platform and do it and try and out him? She tried to out him. I'm sure she has contact with him. She's worked with him before. She could have messaged, said, Wrighty, look, I've got an issue with this. Man said personal beef, jollof v rice and peas. Yeah. Big or unknown C, man. Big or unknown C as always. I hear you. I hear you. Anyway, here's what it is. Shout out Wrighty, man. Shout out Wrighty. By the way, for my basketball fans, LeBron and them, man, got cooked last night. Anthony Edwards masterclass. I genuinely believe that's Michael Jordan's son. The new generation is taking over people in basketball. But I won't speak about it for too long. I know not everybody in the chat are basketball fans, but boy, Anthony Edwards was cooking last night, man. I'm telling you, Lakers, Jokic and LeBron, yeah, they're going to attack. They're going to get points. They're not defenders. They ain't going to defend. They don't have the energy. They don't have the enthusiasm. They're going to get ran all over. So to me now, basketball, it's these high energy teams, Boston Celtics, OKC. Those teams are the dangers, you know. And the Knicks as well. I see they're easing their way past Detroit. So yeah, man, big up. But we definitely got to do basketball streams. Because I know there's a lot of basketball fans in the chat. Anyway, let's concentrate. The press conference isn't until 7 p.m. tonight, so I'll go live tomorrow afternoon and do a quick stream, maybe 45 minutes press conference reaction. That wasn't a foul, to be fair, on LeBron. Well, that's what they're arguing. So we'll do press conference reaction tomorrow. I'm going to go live early tomorrow. It's at 8 o'clock kickoff. I'm going to go live around 6:30, 6 o'clock again. Because it's such a big game. It's a huge game. And I'll be honest, I feel a bit more nervous than I have done before. But maybe nerves is a good thing. It just means it's a big game. Let's have a little look at the whole situation from different angles, different points of view. We play PSG tomorrow. And they were beaten at the weekend 3-1. They got beat 3-1 by Nice at home. And some of you might think, doesn't matter, they've won the league, won't affect them, blah, blah, blah. This defeat went down quite badly in Paris because they were unbeaten. They were looking for an invincible season. They've already won the league, but they were on for an invincible. This was their first defeat of the season. A few days before playing Arsenal. Let's hope that plays into our hands in some way. I've realised what's making me so nervous about this game. It's no Thomas Partey. That is what is causing me a problem for tomorrow. We dealt with Real Madrid with no Gabriel. I was nervous with no Gabriel, but then when I saw the way Real Madrid were playing, I was like, okay, we can cope without Gabriel, which is great. My concern is, I think if Partey was playing tomorrow, I'd be sitting here saying, I think we're going to beat them. Partey not playing really, really bothers me. It's not just that Partey's not playing, it's the knock-on effect of him not playing. Him not playing is probably going to move Marino into midfield. That bothers me. I think we're a better team with Marino up top than we are with Trossard up top. So that's where the problem is for me, is what team he's going to put out. I think Arteta's going to play Marino in midfield and Trossard up front, which is, I'm not totally happy with that. I hope it works, but I'm not fully happy with that. I think we're a better team with Marino up front. But PSG were beaten. I was looking at PSG's squad, pretty much everybody available. They're missing nobody. So whatever you believe is PSG's strongest team, they are going to have that team on the pitch. All their players are available. So what does he do? What does he do tomorrow? When you look at their team, I mean, Kvara against Timber, I do have some confidence in that. Dembele against Saliba, I do have confidence in that. You just can't let Dembele start turning and running at you. He's very unpredictable. And then obviously it'll be Barcola or Doué, maybe on the right against Lewis Skelly if Lewis Skelly plays it. It's crazy because PSG are a team. I think we've got to beat them tomorrow. We have to. If we don't beat them tomorrow, I'll be hitting the panic button. I think we have to beat them in the home game. Absolutely think we have to beat them. Right, here's one I made earlier. You know them old school programs where they were doing cooking and then they just pulled it out of the oven. They've made it off camera. Here's one I made earlier. Not everyone would agree with this. This is based off what he's going to pick, but I would risk Zinni in midfield and leave Marino up top. He won't. And there is an element of risk attached to it, but that's what I would do. That's what I would do. Because I think Zinchenko's got the quality on the ball. I think he can split your defence open. And what you've got to do against PSG, you've got to hurt them in transition. That's why Aston Villa were peppering them second half. Because the ball went into midfield. They got it to the front line. Bang. Goal, goal, goal. Because you've got to remember, as good as Hakimi and Nuno Mendes are, they are super attacking. You can hurt them down the side of the pitch. I think Zinni's got that quality to split a defence. The problem with Zinni is Zinni gives the ball away sometimes, playing those risk versus reward passes. When they're good, they split you. When they're bad, they can isolate you and leave you a little bit exposed. So that's the other side of it. I just don't think he's going to do that. How is he going to set this midfield up? Now, if he brings Marino into midfield, which is the way he's been setting us up, right? And he leaves us with Marino and then puts Trossard up front. Again, this is what I'm saying about the knock-on effect of everything that's happening, which is why I'm more nervous about tomorrow's game than previous games. That means you drag Declan Rice into the 6, which again, Declan Rice has just had 2 of the games of his life playing box-to-box against Real Madrid. We're all of a sudden going to drop him in the 6 and say, play with discipline, protect the 2 centre-backs. Now, of course, that's his natural role. And that's the role a lot of us have been saying we want him to play in overtime as well. It's just, like I said, for my old school NBA street players, for my old school Pro Evo players, when you're on a red, you want to leave them in that role. Rice is on fire in that role at the moment. So I kind of feel like I want Rice in the more advanced role, making them powerful runs. And then I look at Marino and Odegaard and I think, well, if we're having difficulty in this game, are they going to support Rice defensively? So this Partey suspension is a complete headache. It's not 1 for 1. It's going to affect 3 different parts of our team. Partey comes out of the 6, which drags Rice into the 6, which takes Marino out of striker into the 8, which puts Trossard up front. 3 parts of our team get affected by that Thomas Partey suspension, which is calamitous. You know, it's calamitous. And I just wonder if Arteta needs to do something else. I think if he's... Listen, Arteta's being paid the 2nd highest wage in the Premier League after Pep. He's earning more than Ancelotti at Real Madrid. I'm looking at Arteta going, you need to show me why you're getting so much money. I need to see something. Now, maybe he picks this team and it works. Trossard's been clutch in the Champions League, particularly last season. Maybe he does the business up front. Another thing that I don't like with not having Marino up front is you lose the aerial threat. We know that Saka, for example, loves cutting inside, crossing the ball. You know? Loves crossing the ball. If you got Trossard up front, it's not the same as Marino. However, what we need from Marino is high energy. If that ball goes wide, he needs to make the penalty area so that we can put crosses into the area. So I think this will be the Arsenal team tomorrow. I would bet money on this being the Arsenal team. The goalkeeper, I mean, he was poor in the last game, but I trust him from what he's done this season. He has had a good season. The back four, it is what it is. I think we trust them. Two fullbacks have been great. Kivior's done well. Kivior's going to have to concentrate. This is a different test. Dembele is explosive. He's an elite dribbler. Keeps the ball close to his feet. He's got tricks. He'll nutmeg you. He tries to embarrass you. What they got to do is keep close to Dembele and not allow him to turn and start running at us. Saliba's got to show leadership as well. The midfield, I mean, I'm like a broken record. Every time we have a big game, I say, Odegaard's got to perform, and then we don't really see much of a performance from him. So surely, I mean, even a broken clock is right twice a day. There has to be a point where we're sitting here at the end of a big game saying Odegaard's played well today. Like, we need something, bro. He's just played Real Madrid twice and didn't really do much, and then didn't do much against Palace, while Eze's scoring bangers and then going to Wembley and scoring bangers. So we need something. We can't keep saying our captain. And the thing is about Odegaard, we accept him just getting picked because of his reputation and the fact he wears the armband. Because realistically, the way that Martin Odegaard is playing, he could be getting dropped tomorrow. Realistically, but he won't be because he holds a certain role within that squad. And we're relying on him. Come on, eventually something's going to happen. So he needs to perform. David said, hey, Big C, David Forest supporter here and subscriber to your brilliant channel. Just got back from London, went out on a bender last night, slept in the van. I live on the Norfolk coast, peed off. Fine margins, bro. I did the watch along. I don't think Forest played great. I thought they were a little bit kind of the occasion. However, Morgan Gibbs-White, man, he won't have slept well last night. The volley off the crossbar, great technique, but that one he takes around the goalkeeper, you've got to score. And that Alanga miss as well, man, when Hudson-Odoi crossed it. And that's the thing. Cup competitions about fine margins, about taking your chances. And that's what we need to do tomorrow night. Shout out Max, man. Big up, my bro. Hope you're well, bro. Let's get the likes up to 1,000 likes. How can Arsenal hurt this PSG team? I don't want this to all be, oh, PSG are good and, you know, we're not our best and blah, blah, blah. Let's embrace it. Let's embrace tomorrow night as a fan base. Be nervous, but embrace an occasion that we're desperate to be in. We all want this kind of pressure. It's boring playing a league game that has nothing potentially at the end of it. This is the kind of pressure that we want this football club to have. I've said it before, and I've said it again. The two wingers win or loses the game tomorrow, in my opinion. Saka and Martinelli are the key. I actually think PSG have got two fantastic fullbacks. I don't think there's many teams in world football who've got two better fullbacks than them in the same team, in Hakimi and Nuno Mendes. I think Nuno Mendes is one of the best left-backs in the world. However, they get forward time after time after time. You got to hit them on the break. While they're high up the pitch, get our wingers high and go to work. Saka cooked Nuno Mendes last time. He was too strong for him. And Nuno Mendes said in that interview, he's the hardest winger that he's played against. So that tells you already how good Saka is. And Martinelli against Hakimi, I think Hakimi is brilliant, but I think he can be got at. I think defensively is one of Hakimi's weaknesses. So we've almost got to stifle the attack of their fullbacks by getting our wingers to push them back. and make Hakimi and Mendes scared to get forward too much because we're overloading them out wide. So that's where the game's going to be won and lost. If for whatever reason we don't win that battle out wide, I think we're in trouble. If we do win those battles, I think we will cause them loads of problems. Loads of problems. They concede goals. And you saw the way Villa, when they hit them in transition with Rashford and them, they were ripping them apart. And I think they could have beaten them if it wasn't for Emery pooping his pants and taking his best attackers off. So we need to hurt them. Make no mistake, we got to go to Paris with a lead. We've got to have something to defend in Paris. I think 2 goals needs to happen. 1, we'd have a chance. 2 would be amazing. Obviously, 3 that we got against Real Madrid would be dreamland again. But I think this will be a harder game than the Real Madrid game because this is a confident team with chemistry. And they have a midfield that keeps the ball very well. And they have a team that runs a lot more than Real Madrid. We ran all over Real Madrid. So Junior said, as soon as Villa turned it into a physical game, they were struggling. We got to turn it into a physical game. You look at their midfield, as good as they are technically. Fabian Ruiz, Vitinha, João Neves. They're not powerhouses. They're technically superb, but they're not powerhouses. We need to turn it into more of a Premier League game than a Champions League game. High intensity, high tempo, high aggression, and take that confidence on board that we have beaten this team. I know they didn't have Kvara, and I know Dembele didn't play, so it is a different game, but we need that confidence. Just in terms of the lineup, I think this is the team Arteta will pick tomorrow. Would any of you pick something different? Let me know in the comments. Like I said, for me, I would gamble and play Zinchenko in midfield and leave Marino up top, just because I think his hold-up play, his aerial presence and his confidence up front. But it would be a risk to put Zinni in midfield. But he plays there for his country, and he's a quality passer of the ball. However, I think he's going to go with this. Trossard's played up front the last few games. He scored goals, and I think he'll go with this. But would anyone do anything different? I've seen people saying put Lewis Skelly in midfield, play Tierney at left back. I've seen people saying put Timber at left back, put Ben White at right back, and move Skelly into midfield. There's a lot of different suggestions that people have had. Would any of you guys do anything different? I don't think Jorginho will be fit because Jorginho would have been a like-for-like replacement for Partey in terms of playing in the 6 role, and then you could have left Rice in that role and left Marino up top. Swap Martinelli and Trossard. You'd put Martinelli up front. Yeah, interesting. I just think Trossard struggles in the wide areas. It just doesn't have the pace, does he? But I hear you. Martinelli's pace through the middle. Skelly in midfield. Tierney at left back would bring physicality. Yep. Gyökeres, did he score at the weekend? I could not tell you. I mean, he scores most weekends, don't he? Let's have a look. Did Glock 9 score at the weekend? I don't even know what day they played. Let's have a look. Portuguese League. Sporting won 5-0. Oh my God, he scored 4. He scored 4. What are we doing here? Pay the money and get it over with. He scored 4 goals. Don't tell. Did he get the assist for the other goal? No, he didn't. He scored 4. Wow. They won 5-0. He scored 4 just against Boa Vista. Just get the deal done. I've seen enough. I've seen enough. Just please, just buy him ASAP. Price tag went up. Well, it's a release clause, so it doesn't matter if he scores 4 million goals. It shouldn't change anything. So yeah, what a player. Anyway, we'll discuss some more of that tomorrow when we get press conference reaction as well. Speaking of Jorginho, put Ben White in the 6 for Partey. I mean, the only thing I haven't seen him in midfield for so long. Don't think he's fully fit. I just think he wouldn't cope with high intensity. Sniper Scope, don't you think the club feels the same? Hence why Berta comes in. Sick of Edu having barbecues. Also, the stars have aligned for Paul. Even City have fell off. Do you know why we're in a very high pressure situation at the moment, Sniper? Because let's look at it like this. Liverpool have won the league. A lot of people weren't tipping them in the summer because Klopp had gone and they didn't spend, apart from Chiesa. So Liverpool have won the league. Manchester City have had one of their worst seasons in years. They're going to make the top four and they're favourites to win the FA Cup final. So in reality, you would expect Man City to win a trophy and get Champions League qualification. And this is in something of a crisis season. That's not bad for a crisis. You've then got a situation where Tottenham and Man United are in the Europa League semi-final. You'd expect at least one of those two to make the final of the Europa League. And Newcastle have won their first trophy in like 70 years. So you're in a situation where you're going, well, if Arsenal don't win something this season, you're going, well, that's 3 years of finishing second, which means obviously you're the second best team in the country. You're one of the best teams in Europe. And in terms of silverware, you've got nothing to show for it. Nothing. Nothing to show for it. How is that the case? If you're competing for 4 trophies in a season and you're the second best team in your country, how have you not brought one piece of silverware back to the Emirates? Not even a little Carabao Cup. Not even an FA Cup again. Nothing. And Chelsea are in the semi-final of the Conference League. So our worst case scenario, Liverpool win the title, Man City win the FA Cup, Newcastle win the Carabao Cup, Chelsea win the Conference League, and Man United or Tottenham win the Europa League. And then we get beat in the Champions League. Can you imagine how that would look out there in the public domain? We're under a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure. Will Caladog play centre-back? I don't think he's fit, bro. I don't think he's fit. You leave Kivior there, don't you? But Big C, we finished second, exactly. Who's better, Arsenal or Newcastle? Arsenal, but the reality is, if they get Champions League and we do, and they've won a Carabao Cup, to me, they've had a better season than us. It's silverware. That's what the game's about, right? That's why we play elite sports, to win trophies. If they get Champions League and we do, and they win a trophy, they've had a better season than us, and our team costs way more than Newcastle's. So, but listen, it's fine margins, and it starts tomorrow. 3 games to be kings of Europe and lift that trophy with the big ears. Fabrizio's tweeted a couple things. I mean, I'm not going to talk about this one for too long, but you guys know I'm not happy with this. I'm really not happy with this. Not everybody agrees, but Fabrizio said, Man United keep working to seal the Mateus Cunha deal very soon. 63 million release clause. Again this weekend, goal and an assist for Cunha. I don't know. Listen, will he be a success at Man United? Maybe, maybe not. But I think allowing him, I mean, just to give you numbers, and it isn't always about numbers, but at Wolves, who've been in a relegation battle for much of this season, 15 goals and 6 assists in 29 games, 21 goal contributions. I mean, I wouldn't have bought him as a striker. I'd have bought him as the player to play just off the striker. I think it would have been a brilliant deal at 63 million. He's cheaper than Havertz. He starts for Brazil. You see the way he played at the weekend. I mean, very, very disappointed that we are not in for him. Not everyone will agree. Eze was balling out again. To me, if you ain't going for Eze or Cunha, then I think you've made a huge mistake. 2 players that improve us in an area that we're clearly not good enough, that will cost you, they say, Eze 60 million and Cunha 63 million. I don't know how you ignore those 2 deals if you're Arsenal Football Club. We're clearly not good enough in attacking midfield. Odegaard's got 2 goals this season. 2 goals in the Premier League. And these, you're talking about guys, the man's got 15 goals this season. I don't know. I would have been all over this deal personally, but yeah, Martin Odegaard has a grand total of 2 Premier League goals in 26 games. Crazy. Crazy business. They don't meet the PR profile. Probably don't. Eze better in tight space. I mean, the thing is, Cunha apparently has a bit of an attitude, but I don't think Arteta likes that personality. And Berta does know him. You know, you'd have worked with him at Atletico. Big C, this club ignored Kvaratskhelia. Exactly. Market opportunity. Anyway, let's talk about Jorginho, people. Fabrizio saying he's on his way out. There was obviously stories last week that Jorginho might get a deal as a player coach, which wouldn't have been good, but in my opinion anyway, Jorginho still expected to leave Arsenal as a free agent at the end of the season. Flamengo have already presented their proposal to the player for a free move. No current negotiations ongoing with Neom FC in Saudi Arabia. So it looks as if Jorginho is still on his way out and heading to Flamengo in Brazil. Which I think is the right thing to do. Latte, if it makes sense, they won't do it. As we've said, OGD said Cunha is not the be all and end all. It's his decision. Berta would have had a word with him if Cunha is not interested. But what I'm saying is, excuse me, do we know that Cunha's not interested? And do we know if Arsenal went for him? Is that even an area of the pitch they're targeting? I think if you look at it, let's go off Arsenal's actions, right? Arsenal wanted Naipan, who is a young player that would have cost, 10, 11 million, who wouldn't have mind sitting on the bench. I think Arsenal were going to get a cheap attacking midfielder, a young player, that wouldn't have put loads of pressure on Odegaard, but would have just been there in case he needed rotating or resting. I don't think Arsenal want an attacking midfielder like Cunha, like Eze, that's going to come into the club and go, actually, I think I'm better than Odegaard. Get him on the bench. You know what I mean? I don't think Arsenal are looking for somebody to apply that kind of pressure. That's where I'm a little bit frustrated. I think Arsenal should have been moving like that, but I don't think they are. But yeah, Jorginho expected to leave the club, and it'll be on a free, and just interesting to see what's happening regarding Thomas Partey's future, because we're still waiting on that. We heard that Arsenal were offering him a new deal, but they're just trying to agree on the finances and the length of time on that contract. So we'll see what happens there. Listen, big up to everyone locked in, nearly 2,000. Make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. We got a very, very busy week on the channel and an exciting week. This is what it's all about. Tomorrow's game is a nerve-wracking game, but such an exciting game and an occasion. Champions League semi-final. Only the third Champions League that we've ever been in. You know, we beat Villarreal, we lost to Man United, and then now this one against PSG. It's serious times, people. This is a serious time. It feels like a crossroads for Arsenal. They get through this and win the Champions League. We're where we need to be. If we don't, it's like, wow, you know, we've got to bounce back, and we're going to have a lot of people saying, look, you've bottled it again, kind of thing. Champions League semi-final week. I will be doing a watch along for both these semi-finals this week. I'll also be doing a watch along for Manchester United against Athletic Bilbao on Thursday. So make sure 7:30 around. Well, no, they're 8 o'clock kickoffs. Just make sure you tune in. We're doing all those watch alongs, which is, you know, an exciting week. You got Arsenal against PSG tomorrow night, which is the big one, and then Barcelona against Inter on Wednesday. I've been saying for a long time, I think Barcelona are going to knock Inter Milan out. I know a lot of people really rate Inter, but I think they're running out of steam. They've got a few injuries. They haven't scored in their last 3 games, and they were beaten at the weekend as well. Inter back to 3 defeats in a row in all competition. Lost to Roma in the league, lost to AC Milan in the cup, and lost to Bologna in the league as well. So I think they're crumbling. And as I said, Lautaro, without a big man striker, is not as good. Marcus Thuram's got injured. Now Martinez's form has dropped, which has always been the reason I've said I don't want Lautaro Martinez, because he plays in a 2 and he needs a physical striker next to him. Barcelona dealt with Real Madrid at the weekend in extra time, but they did go 120 minutes. So how would that fatigue affect them against Inter Milan? Be interesting to see how that goes. But it's all about us against PSG. I'm nervous already. It feels like match day today. I'm already nervous. I almost feel more nervous for this game than Real Madrid, because when we went to that Real Madrid game, I don't know. I just felt I felt like the whole world expects us to lose. I wasn't even convinced we would beat them myself. So it felt like minimal pressure, where now it feels like we're expected to win. And I think that's where it becomes difficult sometimes. But yeah, I am. I'm more excited than nervous because it's that excitement of, wow, if this goes right, you're talking about a Champions League final. Do you know what I mean? With a channel, I'm not going to lie, I'm a fan and I'm a content creator. Fan first, support the club. Content point of view, wow, a Champions League final on this channel. As I said, people, since I've had this channel, I haven't had one cup final. I haven't had one cup final watch along for Arsenal on this channel. Not one. So for the first one to be the biggest competition would be unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I'm just so intrigued to see how we adapt to not having party. I think if I was Arsenal, right, even though this game is played over two legs, and you do have to kind of play the two legs, I think we need to beat PSG tomorrow. I think Arsenal have got to go to Paris with a lead. They've got to make sure they've already won the first leg and they're taking a 1-2-3 goal lead. I think if we're going there with a defeat or a draw, I think we're in big trouble. I think we've got to beat them at the Emirates. That place going to be rocking tomorrow night. I'm not even going to lie. Numbers will go through the roof. 100k incoming. Trust me, bro. We make the Champions League final. We hit 100k. Quick. Quick. Make sure you got your setup rights on Amazon Prime. Yeah, I need to make sure that that's all set. Couple goals. No, FA Cup final. I didn't. No, I wasn't active them times there. We need a 2-goal lead. Yeah, I think we do. I think 2-goal lead, I would be confident we're going to go through. Champions League viewers won't beat your Copa America final viewers. Yeah, 650,000. Yeah, I was on AFTV for the FA Cup final watch on. My channel was only just starting and I just thought, I wasn't even doing watch-alongs. I wasn't even doing live streams them times, to be honest. Just all pre-recorded stuff. So, yeah, tomorrow is going to be incredible. It's going to be interesting what he says in the press conference tonight. Is there any chance that Jorginho has returned? Is there any chance that... because he could just go into midfield and play the party role and then everything stays the same. But I do worry about Jorginho because he's so slow and they have a lot of energy in their team. So it will be very interesting what Arteta says. The press conference is tonight, 7 o'clock. So I'll probably do press conference reaction 1:30 tomorrow. And then obviously the watch along will be tomorrow night. But I'm going to go early for that one. Yeah, 600k. So basically what happened... Copa America final, Brazil against Argentina. And I think a lot of people thought, because I made a really good thumbnail, I think they thought that that was the stream that was showing the game. So all of a sudden, I'm turning up 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, me and Fran doing the watch along. We're both kind of whispering, like the Yin Yang twins people, because Cruz was in bed and his son was just had gone to bed as well. So we're both trying not to wake our kids up. So I'm turning up thinking, yeah, 1 a.m., if we get 1,000 people live, this will be great. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I've got 12,000 people in the live. What is going on? But loads of people are speaking Spanish in the chat. And then I'm seeing people put puta and this, that, the other. I'm like, bro, what's going on? And they're saying, well, why are you not showing the game? I'm like, bro, it's a watch along. I'm not here to show you the game. I'm here to do a watch along. And then the numbers dropped to about 2,000 or 3,000. But that 12k were there for a good 20 minutes. So the show went up to 650,000 views. Listen, it's not my fault that they thought I was showing the game live. The game's the game, people. You know what I mean? You've turned up here. I never said I was showing the game live. I said live watch along. 650k views. I had a good shopping spree when that stream dropped. I can't lie, but the game's the game, people. The game is the game. There was a lot of angry Argentina and Brazil fans that night, but yeah, it was a clickbait show, but it was nothing to do with me. You know what I mean? I said watch along. They never read it. Dark Arts, man. I was moving like Rudiger that night, stamping on people and all sorts. Anyway, is what it is. Yeah, Kara. So basically, probably about 6 o'clock, we will have a combined 11 video out for Arsenal PSG. Even though we went into a little bit of detail when I did the show the other day, this will be a bit more in depth. I'll explain my decisions. You guys can get involved. Tell me your combined 11. of this PSG game. We've got more players in it than when we played Real Madrid. And I'll let you know Declan Rice is in this one after my Camavinga mistake last time. I did pick Camavinga over Declan Rice in the combined 11 last time. And then Rice scored 2 of the best free kicks I've ever seen while Camavinga got sent off. So, yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, there was all sorts of puta in the comments. I said, raw. I don't know what's going on there. Why are they so mad? But it is what it is. People, thank you very much for tuning in. Really appreciate your support as always. Hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll preview the game and then we'll have an extended build-up to the biggest game of the season. Maybe I'm thinking about it. This could be the biggest game. This is the biggest game in years. When I think about it, this is the biggest game in years. Champions League semi-final at the Emirates on a Tuesday night. Are you crazy? This game is astronomically big. I might go live at 5 p.m. Tomorrow's nuts. Tomorrow's absolutely crazy. Anyway, people, chill, relax, enjoy your Monday. Tomorrow's going to be crazy. Hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you all tomorrow, people. Bless.